Assalamu alaikum everybody, we're back. Mosman Oil and Gas. If I'm making a lot of these videos, you know that Mosman are releasing a lot of news. So let's take a look at what's happened today. Important development, guys. Current share price 0.036 GBX, up 5% today. 1 month chart, we're up 21%. Year to date, we're up 21%. 6 month, we're down minus 9%. 1 year, we're up 81%. We're up 81% in 1 year. Crazy stuff. But let's see what's happened today. Mossman have released a new RNS this morning at 7 a.m., which is very un-Mossman like, because usually they're about like the 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m. slot. But look here, 16th of April 2025, 7 a.m. Project review confirms helium at Sagebrush 1 well. Exciting title. Let's take a look into this. So we see here, Mossman project review confirms helium at Sagebrush 1 well. Mosman Oil and Gas, the helium, blah, 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 announces that historic gas sample data confirms helium and methane in the Leadville Formation at the Sagebrush Project, Colorado, where Mosman has an 82.5% working interest. Gas composition confirms helium. Mossman's technical team has reviewed hard copies of data received from the former operator Seal Oil Company and found reports of gas sample analysis dated December 30, 1993, so a long time ago, but it's recorded following an open hole drill stem test DST performed at the Sagebrush 1 well in December 1993. The report states the DST gas samples contain 2.76% helium, circa 20% methane, and significant quantities of nitrogen, 35%, and carbon dioxide, 40%, alongside traces of other heavier hydrocarbons, 3%. Commercial flow rates. The DST flowed gas to surface in the range 152 to 163 mcfd. These flow rates, combined with the attractive gas composition, indicate that this well could be a commercial producer of helium with the additional financial benefit of methane production that may be useful for generating power for the separation of helium, for compression, and or for added value with sales of natural gas to power stations. Next steps. Okay, very good. So what this basically means is confirms helium. Important word is confirmed. So they know helium's in there, as the report in 1993 stated. Obviously, 1993 was a while back, so things could have changed under the surface. But we're still hopeful, that there is helium, and they've confirmed it per their reports. So I can't imagine much has changed underground or on that well since then. Next steps. The next step is a production feasibility study to determine optimal helium and methane separation and sale. Carbon dioxide may be vented or sold, and nitrogen will be vented to atmosphere. The Sagebrush 1 oil production well could be converted from producing oil from the Ismay Formation to producing helium and methane from the Leadville Formation at an estimated cost of circa 100,000 USD, which is not bad. It's not too expensive. Not too expensive. This could be achieved relatively quickly. However, the current plan is to look for the most cost-effective way to separate the helium and transport it to the market. Further future development wells will be considered once 3D seismic is acquired, processed, and interpreted in the second half of 2025. So this is going to be important for us to know exactly how much the helium concentration is and what flows they're expecting. The timing of the new 3D seismic is subject to the regulatory approval process, and further updates will be provided in due course. There is a pipeline on location which was previously used to transport methane from this well site to market that is now currently suspended and unused and will now be evaluated as a possible initial transportation solution. There are several potential ways to market the helium, including utilizing pipelines connected to the Lisbon Valley Helium Plant and the ANF field. Existing pipeline infrastructure at Sagebrush on production sites. It's good they're adding pictures now. This is like the first time I'm seeing pictures in a Mossman RNS, in quite a while. So yeah, glad to see this. That means things are actually happening and things are actually real. So I hope they continue doing this in the future. So investors can see for themselves what the rigs look like, what the infrastructure looks like as well. So let's see what Andy Carroll, the CEO, has said. We are excited to find such valuable helium content that is within our broad range of expectations based on helium content of other wells in the area. This is an important data point to help assess the potential commercial value of not only our Sagebrush project but also our nearby Coyote Wash project. All initial indications are that the helium content and the flow rate from the DST suggest this Sagebrush 1 oil producing well could be recompleted and converted to commercial helium production. This information enables us to move to engineering studies and commercial negotiations with the potential for helium production within 12 months, utilizing existing infrastructure. 12 months, that's a really good and quick turnaround for helium production. Mosman management and in-house technical team attended the 2025 North American Helium and Hydrogen Conference in Denver last week and are now in Durango meeting the Mountain UT Council and management, conducting site visits and meeting technical advisors. Very, very good. It's good to see, Mosman are actually on the ground where all their projects are in the States and, doing all the hard work, meeting people, getting things done and meeting advisors, that sort of thing to push forward with everything. So I think this is a very positive RNS in the grand scheme of things. Very excited to hear that Helium is confirmed as the Sagebrush 1 production site, and that they've said that their plan is within the 12 months to start getting helium production from there and selling and making some extra cash. So that's all really, really good, and it's probably why the share price today has gone up a tiny bit for 5%. We did start off quite close to the 0.04, dip down a bit, but that's expected. Some people do sell on the news, but if you're a real investor, you're holding, because helium is the next big thing. And you know what I did today? I did something new. I actually chucked in all the information into ChatGPT, provided the RNS details, and asked it to create me a quick report on how much money it could make, or Mosman could make, based on what was shared today. So this is like the output of what we got. So plug in the RNS, you tell ChatGPT to get some numbers from all of this. So it's done a really nice breakdowns of from, first off, it's the well output and gas composition. So it's done like the flow rate, the gas composition by volume, and then revenue from helium as well. Here, their helium price range of conservative of 300 USD. Estimate annual helium revenue based on the 2.76% helium gives about 476,000 USD. If the helium price increases, which it may do because supply is low and demand is high, so that could be a factor as well. And then obviously it adds in revenue from methane as well, natural gas. Cost of infrastructure, we've got the 100,000 here, one-off, existing pipeline, separation required, feasibility study pending, ballpark summary here we've got low estimate, mid estimate, high estimate. So yeah, look, helium revenue, if we're being really conservative, low estimate 476,100 USD a year, methane revenue of 22,000, total revenue annual of close to 500,000. And then obviously the initial conversion cost minus the 100,000. So you're looking at about 399,000 USD as a low estimate. Mid estimate and high estimate. The high estimate being 1.62 million in annual revenue. So some of the final thoughts of ChatGPT here are: yes, this could be a commercially viable helium producer, especially at higher helium prices. Even at the conservative end, 500k revenue, 500,000 US dollars in revenue against $100,000 conversion is a solid margin, especially with existing infrastructure. The big swing factor here is helium price volatility and separation/processing cost yet to be determined. A single well won't make Mosman a helium giant, but it's a solid proof of concept with upside if replicated across future wells. Want to run a scenario based on higher flow rates or full field development projections? Let's do the full field development projections. Full field development projections. So we're looking at about 500,000 USD from just one well. But let's take a look at what it says for full field development at the Sagebrush, assuming they find similar in additional wells. Okay, assumptions for full field development: well parameters, daily gas flow. We'll model for 5 wells, 10 wells, and 20 wells. Can they do that many wells? Full field revenue projections. Because obviously you can see if they increase the number of wells, the revenue does increase significantly. A 20 well program could generate $30 million in revenue a year. Final thoughts: provide scalable, high margin helium revenue. Profitable. Okay, so what we'll do now obviously, if Mosman do decide to go ahead and do more wells, then obviously you could make quite a bit. Even with 5, you'd make what, 2 million revenue from just the helium alone. If this, we'll ask about its share price. If this was to happen, what share price would Mosman be valued at compared to today? Let's see what he says for this. Potential impact. Estimated share price 0.0032. I don't think he's done this one properly. Because I think the issue probably is like the amount of shares in issue, 19.54 billion. But obviously this all depends on what happens, so you can't know. We've got Vector as well, so he didn't factor that in as well. So yeah, we'll take a pinch of salt on that ChatGPT listing there. But I think that was good to see in terms of like calculations on what to expect and what can happen. So guys, let me know your thoughts on today's Mosman RNS. I think it's hugely positive for the company going forward that, confirmed helium in the Sagebrush well, which is actually producing oil at the moment as well. And that it's good to see that, Mosman are on the ground, talking with advisors, talking with the people, the UTI community as well. And hopefully, we can get a couple of farm outs done on their other coyote wash as well. And, slowly over time can start producing that commercial helium and making some money for the company. So yeah, looking forward to the future, and inshallah, Mosman can bring it home with the helium. So guys, hope you've enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, subscribe and share, and as always, comment below if you're a Mosman investor. Let me know your thoughts on today's RNS, whether it's positive, negative, or any general thoughts on the company itself. And peace.